Hi, I'm Jordan Long, and today there's this new law, I guess. Well, no, I guess it probably is true that got made or will be made or been made by the lawmakers and will be made into law by the land leader. It's the Shield Children deed. Now, what this implies is that there are some films on YouTube that might not be right for them, anyone from age 5 to age 13. So this new law implies folks to either say, yes, the stuff they do in their films is for kids and that's what they're making it for, so it's kid friendly, and any bears or raisers out there are going to be all right with it. Or no, it's not for kids, then bears and raisers shouldn't have their kids watch it. And I guess if anyone is at that time in their life, then it will either be unfollowed from the fairway or blocked from the fairway. Now, I've been on YouTube for 6 years. I have followed the followership oversight, the ownership oversight, but I have done films that if someone wanted to, I have done films on here that if someone wanted to, they could say not kid friendly. And mostly, yes, sometimes I do curse in my films. That might be the only un-kid friendly thing I have ever done as far as done. And go look at some of my most liked films, and you'll see how some of that shit might not be right for kids. So that's why I had to put down not for kids, not for any upcoming film that I might do, because I do curse sometimes in my films, but for any past film I may have made that someone might come across and see, even if the film follows followership oversight and ownership oversight, it might not follow that. So I put that down to let anyone know what they're getting into when they look at my fairway, But anyway, enough of that. There's a whole film on YouTube that talks about it, and there's a whole whiff on YouTube that talks about it too. So you don't really need me to talk about it. I just need to put it out there. So we got glorious Robert Roode, or wonderful Robert Roode, or heavenly Robert Roode, since glorious is a French borrowed word. And anyway, he'd be like this. Now keep in mind, this is not the Jap Pacific's IW or TNAW or IW doll. This is a WWE Mattel doll. And you can tell. Yeah, I ain't that stupid. I'm not that dumb. Jap Pacific's TNAW doll. I am the WWE Mattel doll. And I'm glorious. Yeah, you are. You're heavenly. You're wonderful. But glorious is a French borrowed word. Yes, it is. So, are you still going to be a jerk? Hey, I have always been a jerk. Ask anyone during my time in IW or TNA or IW if I was a jerk. And I will have to say yes. And I did seek out. Okay, I was teaming with James Storm. Then I was teaming up with Ty Dillinger, and then with Chad Gable. But Dolph Ziggler, it worked. See, me and James Storm, it worked. Ty Dillinger and Chad Gable didn't work out so good. But apparently me and Dolph Ziggler do. But you didn't win the WWE SmackDown Strike Team or Hit Team winnings. That's a oversight, but I assure you we will win those one day. We will win those one day, because they wouldn't have made us win one, and I'm sure we're going to win the other. Yeah, in case you don't remember, Robert Roode is in the TWF, but most of his time in the TWF was having fights with Godzilla just to get a job. And then also having fights with Wonder Woman over the world heavyweight winnings, and that was mostly about it. And maybe one time winning the TWF Strike Team or Hit Team winnings with James Storm, and that was it. Now, a lot of folks out there know that when Robert Roode went to WWE, first he was on NXT, then he went to SmackDown, then he went to Raw, and now he's back on SmackDown again. Now, keep in mind, this is not. Keep in mind, there's a big unlike between the Jap Pacific's TNAW or IW doll and the Mattel WWE doll. Big unlike here. First off, I cut all my hair off, my hair's shorter, my mustache and beard are trimmed it in. I got type that says Roode on one side, Glorious on the other side. So, yeah, I might be smaller than I was the last time, but this is my updated one. Yep. And by the way, you were a former IW heavyweight winner. You were a former IW King of the Mountain winner. You were a former IW Strike Team Hit Team winner with James Storm. Yep. That's about right. You were a former WWE Raw former WWE Raw Hit Team winner with Chad Gable, and a WWE Hit Team winner with Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, and don't forget you're the former WWE 24/7 winner, and also the former WWE NXT heavyweight winner. That's right. You know, and everyone is gonna bitch. And they're going to say, oh, James Storm, Robert Roode, I wish you were in your TNA doll form instead, so I say at this point, IW doll shape instead of being in your WWE Mattel doll shape. Yeah, I think that's what I should say. Because I'll be glorious. But then again, oh yeah, Jordan, so you are. But that's a French borrowed word. The English word would be heavenly, wonderful. And yeah. So are you and Dolph Ziggler going to win the TWF Strike Team winnings? Oh, I don't know. We might. Yeah, there's going to be someone who's going to bitch. The only ones bitching at this point would be the IW followers saying, fuck you. That's the WWE Mattel Robert Roode. And the AEW followers saying, fuck you. Robert Roode's not even in WWE. It's not even in AEW. Yeah. So at this point, it would be what it's going to be with those two. You know? And yes, I got him from Ole's Bargain Outlet, or Ole's Deal Shop. You wouldn't think, but that's where you got. See, the first time I seen him, he was at Walmart many months back. But I didn't get him. And I thought, I'm never going to get the up-to-date Robert Roode. You know? So I did get him now. So now I don't got to dig around. I don't got to be looking around to get the TNA or the IW doll when I already got the Mattel WWE one now. And it's up to date the way he was. How he looked like before he left IW and went to WWE. You know, I get it. He was in other wrestling businesses before that. I understand. He was in WWE at one point in his early days. He was in BCW and Border City Wrestling at one time too. Yeah, he was in Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, many times, about a long stretch of his time. And yes, he was in some others before that. All right. Yeah, all everybody can remember was that I started out in Border City Wrestling. And all they can think to remember is, oh, I was in World Wrestling Entertainment the first time. But all anybody can think about was a time I was in total non-stop action wrestling for most of my time before I went back to World Wrestling Entertainment and became Glorious Robert Roode, or as you could say, the Wonderful Robert Roode, or the Heavenly Robert Roode. Yes. So, I hope you all like this film. That was me with Robert Roode. Yeah, it's his full name, Robert Roode. Um, and hope you all like this film. It'll be glorious. Yeah, it'll be heavenly, wonderful,